A quiet, thoughtful voice begins in a calm setting. Do you hear it? No, not the birds, not the wind brushing against the trees, not even the distant ticking of a forgotten clock. I mean the other thing, the endless hum, the invisible static, the noise. It's everywhere. It lives in the crowd, in notifications, in headlines that scream urgency but lack soul. It pulses through the pressure to stay updated, to keep talking, to stay busy, even as our inner voice cries quietly for rest. We live in an age where silence is awkward, where a pause makes people uncomfortable, where stillness feels like failure. We scroll, we post, we reply, we react but rarely reflect. Once the mystics sat in caves. Once philosophers closed their eyes and found stars in the silence. Now we close our eyes just to shut out the digital glow. We've forgotten that darkness can be a door. The noise isn't just loudness, it's mental clutter. It's opinions with no wisdom. It's distractions dressed as productivity. And it's keeping us far, so very far from ourselves. I ask myself, what does all this cost? What does noise steal from us? It steals our ability to hear, ourselves, each other, and the soft truth that lives in the spaces in between. It erases depth, it blocks presence. And presence, true presence, is everything. When did we last hear our own thoughts without interference? When did we last notice how a breeze feels on the skin, or how silence sounds like music? We're overloaded, but starving for meaning, for connection, for authenticity. The mystics knew that silence isn't emptiness, it's space. Sacred space. The kind of space where truth echoes, where the soul reveals itself. But we keep covering it up, because silence is confronting. In silence, you hear your regrets, your old dreams, your unanswered questions, and the longer you've avoided them, the louder they become. Noise is a clever mask. It makes you think you're living when really you're running. From grief, from stillness, from knowing. But there is another way. The path forward might not be louder, but quieter, more intentional, more mindful. The sages walked into deserts and forests, not because they hated people, but because they wanted to hear something deeper. They wanted to remember what the world made them forget. That the soul doesn't shout, it whispers. And if the world is too loud, you'll miss it. So I choose silence, not to escape the world, but to re-enter it more awake. I sit here not to isolate, but to align with something ancient and eternal inside me. Because I've realized this, peace doesn't arrive with more. Peace arrives with less noise, less distraction, more space, more breath. In this quiet, I begin to remember. I remember that I am not what I consume, that the world will spin without me replying to everything, that wisdom comes not from shouting louder, but from listening deeper. So I ask you, step back. Not forever, just long enough to hear your own voice again. Walk without your phone, sit without music, drive without a destination, be still. And in that stillness you might hear it. A whisper, a thread of truth, a spark of clarity you forgot you had. That is the magic of silence. That is what the noise tried to take. But it can't. Not if you choose to listen again. So now I leave you with this. Be quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because everything worth hearing begins in silence. Now listen to the magic of silence.